The goals of the economic reconstruction and recovery plan are essentially to reset the South African economy and to reignite it and to make sure that, first of all, we're able to get back to the point where we were operating at prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. And further to that, to boost the economic development and growth beyond that. As we all know, we are an economy that is really in need of achieving further growth in order to create more jobs and to improve the lives of South Africans. Now, from an international perspective, China included, we do know that there are many, many opportunities out there that South Africa has really been chasing from an investment and from a tourism perspective. And aligning ourselves to the goals and the objectives of the economic recovery and reconstruction plan is that we want to use the power of the nation brand in order to enable the country's achievement of those goals. Now, the nation brand itself is really dependent on a wide range of role players and contributors. And so as Brand South Africa, we have to be at the forefront of assisting with this recovery for the South African economy. The theme, Believe in SA, we felt as Brand South Africa is pertinent at this time. We are a nation brand that has really featured prominently internationally. We have been doing work over the past 20 years to really build this brand and establish it amongst our key target audiences. And as any brand would encounter, there are some challenges along the way that occur. And as South Africa, we know one of those major challenges has been COVID-19. We've also had more recent challenges in terms of civil unrest. And so we felt that the time was right for us to start sending that message to our global audiences and target markets to say that South Africa continues to be a stable and attractive destination for both business and investment. And we need them at this point in time to continue to believe in South Africa and what we stand for and what we've been promising throughout the time that they've known us. And so at this point in time, we really need to drive that message and to unpack all of those aspects that really support that statement when we say we continue to be an attractive destination. So our approach right now is to reflect on the current situation, on the immediate past, on what the challenges are, and enter into discussion with those key role players who have a positive contribution to make, and then move forward and look at how to rebuild from that point. What do each of us need to do as stakeholders, as government entities, as civil society and individuals, as well as South African business? So we need to look at the individual contribution that we all have to make in order to contribute towards building the country brand reputation so that we can then continue to be seen as a competitive destination by our international audiences. The COVID-19 pandemic has really disrupted many businesses all around the world, and as South Africa, we have not been spared either. And we saw during the time when it was necessary to have the hard lockdown, borders were closed, the movement of people was severely restricted, and at the same time, the movement of goods was also impacted. We saw both domestically and internationally. And at this point in time, we are well aware of the fact that the movement of people continues to be restricted, though borders have been opened to a certain extent. Travel between South Africa and China is still severely restricted due to the measures that both China and South Africa still have to take. There's talk around vaccinations. People are also hesitant to travel in some instances. And so that does pose a challenge in terms of allowing the ongoing movement of people for the purposes of conducting business, especially from a tourism perspective. As you know, South Africa is really dependent on incoming tourists. We have a fantastic offering that we have been selling and that we continue to sell, and we need those tourists to come into South Africa in order to contribute positively to our economy. Now, coming to investment and to the movement of goods, South Africa's products and services are highly competitive. We feature prominently globally. Those who have interacted with our products and our services will attest to the fact that the quality of materials and goods that we export really are competitive. They are amongst the best in the world. And so what we need to do specifically in the Chinese market is to elevate the profile of the nation brand such that there can be an increased level of confidence in the products that emanate from South Africa. And that is the country of origin effect that we also would like to tap on when we manage the nation brand reputation as Brand South Africa. So there is definitely an opportunity to continue to grow our export. An example I can make is the collaboration that we've had with Wines of South Africa, who are very active within China, promoting South African wines, and doing so, they've also realized in working closely with them, we've realized that the better the nation brand reputation within that market, the greater the propensity for those consumers to accept South African wines and see them as being on par with wines from other parts of the world that are much more closely associated with wine production. So that is just one of the examples that I can make where the nation brand relates to actual exports and the growth potential that exists out there. Our nation brand image in the short term has come under pressure, specifically around the time of the civil unrest. There was a lot of negative coverage of what was going on in South Africa. And in China specifically, the news, we did feature in the news. And as you can expect, there would be some concern as to whether it is safe to travel to South Africa, whether it is safe to invest in South Africa, and what it means in the longer term for those who are considering South Africa as a business and an investment destination. And so we've had to put in a lot of work as Brand South Africa to continue to build confidence within the Chinese market and in other markets abroad. And doing so involves us really telling our story of a country that is stable politically as well as socially, a country that continues to offer a wide range of attractive investment options with very good potential for positive returns for those investors. And so it really is about saying, regardless of the incidents that may have taken place most recently, we need to look at the longer term picture and the bigger picture of what South Africa is, what South Africa stands for, and really contextualize any developments that may detract from the nation brand equity. And that is the important element, aspect to consider when one looks at brands in general. And as South Africa, fortunately, we have taken that position to look at ourselves and to manage ourselves as a brand. Because if you have built your long-term brand equity, you're able to rely on that equity and reputation that has been built over time to really position yourself and to reposition to help your audience understand exactly what you stand for, despite any negative developments that may happen from time to time. So that is the reason why we rely on the power of a competitive nation brand in order to allow our country to succeed and also to allow businesses who are strongly associated with South Africa to be received positively when they conduct their businesses abroad.